business, finance, politics, and court reporting. Alhassan has a Bachelor of Arts degree in Political Science from the University of Ghana, Legon. He also holds a joint master's degree in Business and Finance and Journalism, Media and Globalization from City University of London in UK. Alhassan and his GhanaFact team contribute to ensuring accurate information in the Ghanaian media ecosystem by fighting misinformation and disinformation in the country. Rabiu, thank you for being here with us today.
I think you've done the introductions, and I basically would want to say I'm very privileged to be on this panel to share my perspectives on the topic at hand, election 2020 and fake news, lessons to be learned amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. I would love to use my presentation to lead you on in terms of my perspectives around various issues that would have to deal with because of the pandemic and how things are evolving with regards to the elections. So Caroline will be giving us, will be helping us with the presentation and me walking you through my perspectives on things. Basically, this is the overview of what I'll be discussing and sharing my perspectives on. I'll be looking at the Electoral Commission that has the mandate to execute the forthcoming election and how, in terms of how they would execute the elections, commanding a huge number of electoral officials, the electoral equipment that would be used and the electoral materials, and how that would have to actually consider the fact that COVID-19 is still at hand and there will be the need to use the necessary protocols that have been laid out. Political campaigns also, what we have always known with regards how it is organized, rallies, face-to-face encounters and door-to-door campaigns. That has also evolved with lots of it going to move virtual, lots of it going to go onto social media. Partly also because of COVID-19, but partly also because we've reached a digital age where a lot of things are being done using the internet. Now, political mobilization on social media, not just in Ghana, but across the world, we've seen how political parties or political actors are taking advantage of the digital space to reach a wider network of people. In Ghana, we are seeing the political parties do that, and we've gotten evidence of that from some research that has been put out by researchers from the Exeter University, Warwick, and Beirut University. This also brings to bear the need for fact-checking. Fact-checkers, full-time fact-checkers doing due diligence and flagging misinformation, disinformation, and arming the populace with accurate information so they are able to take decisions that would help them in the not too distant future. Now, and I'll conclude with issues around accountability, how we can ensure that we just don't fact check, because the world is moving on. We can't just limit ourselves to just fact checking and flagging misinformation, but we need to hold people accountable. People who decide to spread misinformation must be held accountable. So I would start with my first slide that goes into details with regards to what I would want to talk about, and it is about the Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission would have the mandate to organize the forthcoming elections. They would have a huge team of electoral officials that they would need to deploy across the country to do some work. They would be using voting equipment, which would be moving between these officials, and would also be expecting people to be tested biometrically before they are able to vote, which would mean some contacts with the electoral machines. Now, electoral materials like ballot papers and pink sheets would also be moving from one person to the other. So we would have to pay attention and know that we are in a period where there is COVID-19, there is this pandemic with us. So we cannot take things for granted. The electoral officials must ensure that they are socially distancing, they are using the hand sanitizers that would be made available to them. And crucially, the lessons that we picked from the voter registration exercise, they just ended one, despite the opposition to the Electoral Commission to go ahead with the registration exercise they did. go ahead with it. So the lessons we learned from organizing it and successfully getting people to go onto the role, would need to deploy that in the upcoming election. So this is crucial, that we are able to pick up the lessons and run with it during the election, so we don't see a spike in the number of COVID-19 cases in the country. Now, political campaigns in the country, not just in the country, around the world, has largely been characterized by political parties organizing rallies, face-to-face encounters, and door-to-door interactions. But we are seeing that evolve. It is evolving where we are seeing people move these kinds of engagements online because of the increasing number of people we are getting connected to the internet. In Ghana, we know about 1/3 of the population is connected to the internet, and half of the number of people connected to the internet are actively on social media. So political campaigns are evolving where we are seeing more of these campaigns being organized virtually, live interactions with people on the internet. If you can move to the next slide. Live interactions with people on the internet, basically to connect with them and reach the populace there. And it looks like there is a large chunk of the literate population on the internet, and they also have some ripple effect in terms of their communication with those that depend on them. So virtual political campaigns are being organized to reach these people, and streaming of political activities on social media. So it looks like the digital space is being leveraged by the political parties to be able to reach a wider network of people. But this brings to us the challenge of political mobilization on social media. And in the past, we've always kind of flagged the targeted, more controlled attacks that we see on social media and wonder how those attacks are being organized. And with this research paper that was published by researchers from the Exeter University, Warwick, and Beirut, we got to know that the two dominant political parties in the country in the 2016 elections and actually in the upcoming elections are actively recruiting persons to be able to push their narrative on these platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So it's quite evident what the political parties are doing. This means there would be the need for some fact checking of the information they put out, so we know whether they are factual or not. Now, in 2019, GhanaFact, before we launched in August, actually conducted a survey to understand the ecosystem of misinformation and disinformation in Ghana. And fingers were being pointed to politicians and some specific sectors, like the political sector, like the economy, like health. People pointed fingers at that they were concerned that there will be targeted misinformation in these sectors. More than 90% of the people we actually engaged said they had encountered misinformation in the last 1 year. So it's quite evident what is happening. And when you look at some work that has also been done in terms of looking at the way Cambridge Analytica has influenced elections in the past. In 2016, we saw in the US elections and even the Brexit vote, how Cambridge Analytica leveraged on data available to them from Facebook to be able to send targeted information to the populace. And this influenced people to vote in one way or the other. I'm told from some documentaries that have been done, and I'm sure anybody who has watched The Great Hack knows that Cambridge Analytica not just influenced elections in the West, but actually played key roles in elections in Africa. So even in Ghana, they had some roles to play. We are not too sure the details of that because those involved have not really relayed those information to the public, but it would be important for us to demand that political parties and their engagement with third parties, PR organizations that are not based in Ghana, and the activities on social media should be made public as part of we guaranteeing a free and fair election. So we've seen what Cambridge Analytica probably did in 2016 with some work that has been put out by colleagues from multimedia. I think Pretty Natty did some work on that, but that's just scratching the surface. We don't really know what they did. Now, there will be the need for fact-checking and news verification during this election, because it looks like the battleground would be on social media. And with what we've seen with the politicians, it looks like they are taking social media seriously and are actively working to push out their narratives. But as to whether the narratives are true or false, I think time will tell. In Ghana currently, we have 2 full-time fact-checking organizations that are signatory to the IFCN. GhanaFact launched sometime in August last year. We have Dubawa Ghana, which is a transnational fact-checking organization with headquarters in Nigeria and also having an office here in Ghana. We have Fact Check Ghana, which is a project by the Media Foundation for West Africa, actually to understand the ecosystem of fact-checking in Ghana. In 2016, we had 2 civil society organizations, media advocacy organizations, lead some fact-checking projects. Media Foundation for West Africa was one, and Pence Plus Byte was also the other. They did some political fact-checking leading to the elections, and they ceased after the elections. So it looks like we've been exposed to this field, and since then, and since we had GhanaFact and Dubawa also launched to actually actively push out the work of fact-checking and verifying information, we've seen the Ghanaian media space actually also rise up to the occasion, where traditional media platforms are also taking up the issue of fact-checking and not just allowing public officials to put out information just like that. So we've seen that, and we'll be hoping that if we are supposed to make impact, then we would have to move beyond just flagging misinformation and disinformation. We have to be third-party fact-checking organizations where we dutifully hold people accountable. And to be able to hold people accountable, we need to bring pressure to bear on them. We need to collaborate with mainstream media organizations and also collaborate amongst ourselves to be able to bring pressure to bear on them by pushing out or spreading campaigns of factual information, ensuring that we are able to debunk the misinformation that are pushed out there that reach a wider public by this collaboration, because we know traditional media platforms, including radio and TV, have the majority of the audience when it comes to people consuming news on these platforms. So through collaborations, I'm sure we can be able to make much more impact and to be able to hold people who push out misinformation accountable. Finished for now.
So, Rabiu, so how can the challenges you identified be addressed in the midst of digital divides and digital colonialism? Rabiu, that question is directed to you.
Okay, I think if you look at some of the work we've done in the last year, and also since we were hit by the pandemic, you would see that collaboration is really the way forward. GhanaFact, together with Dubawa, we've joined the IFC and COVID-19 Alliance, which has brought together close to 100 fact-checking organizations around the world that basically seek to tackle misinformation and disinformation around COVID-19. Now, this alliance has managed to produce close to 9,000 fact-check reports that have all been made accessible in the data to the public. And it's accessible to everyone around the world in a WhatsApp chatbot. So you can basically go on WhatsApp, go into the chatbot, and get access to 9,000 fact-check reports that basically seek to tackle misinformation and disinformation around COVID-19. So this is a clear example of collaborating and having a common purpose in trying to tackle misinformation and disinformation. Now, on the African continent, there is a project called the Info Finder Project by Africa Check. And Africa Check is the pioneering fact-checking organization on the continent, based in South Africa with offices in Kenya, Senegal, and Nigeria. Now, they have this project that simply seeks to create a repository of facts from the work of African fact-checkers. And GhanaFact is involved in this project together with Dubawa and ZimFact in Zimbabwe. And in the last 8 months, or I think 7 months, we've managed to contribute to the project where anybody on the continent or outside is able to go onto this platform and get access to verified facts from the African continent, and specifically from the countries where the fact checkers involved are from. So this is a clear example, and you can also go onto the platform and actually ask questions, and they get in touch with fact checkers in these specific African countries to get responses for you. So this is a clear example of how collaboration can actually help us make more impact. Now, GhanaFact, I think some few weeks ago, managed to start this Ghana fact-checking network where we are going around the country with support from the French Embassy to basically help newsrooms set up fact-checking desks. So we are empowering them to be able to know how to use digital tools to do fact-checking and verification. And so far, we've helped 11 newsrooms in the 5 northern regions, or in the 5 regions in the northern parts of the country. So Upper East, Upper West, Northeast, Savannah, Northern region. We've helped 11 media organizations set up fact-checking desks, empower the members on the fact-checking desks to be able to know how to use digital tools to do fact-checking. And we will be subsequently be doing same for the rest of the country and all the regions across the country. So this is a clear example and ways that collaboration can help tackle misinformation. And this would help not just reach people on digital platforms, but it will be reproduced on these traditional mainstream platforms, so it will reach the wider public.